Hello, welcome to Stuff and Nonsense. Today we're starting a new video tutorial program called Journaling with Julie. We'll take a look at all sorts of journaling techniques and related art projects. Today's episode is called Kitten Kaboodle. No, not the kitten I named Kaboodle. Nope, I'm talking about putting together a journaling kit. I'll give you some advice on supplies, and when you're kitted out, there's a quick exercise you can try to get you rolling. Be it a diary, a daybook, a notebook, a chronicle, a journal, a log, a blog, even a vlog. Start one today. It is a wonderful creative tool for your life. If you already do a bit of journaling, well then you'll know what I'm talking about. Hopefully you'll pick up a few ideas. I'm here to encourage you. I keep sketch journals. I've been doing it on and off for a long time. Well, not that long. Yeah, just about. Sometimes I would start one, miss a few days, get discouraged and quit. Or I would let people dissuade me. My grandmother, who I'm sure thought she was being practical, told me it was a waste of time. Well, I didn't want to be wasteful, so I quit. But I started again a year later. Then a teacher told me people who keep diaries long to be discovered. Writers and artists are very egotistical. Well, I didn't want to be egotistical, so I quit again. I can't tell you how many times stuff like that has happened, but I keep going back to writing and drawing. Those people weren't bad people, but they were wrong. Sometimes they think they're doing you a favor. John Lennon's Aunt Mimi, who raised him, said, "That guitar is all very fine, but you'll never earn your living by it." Well, she didn't say that because she wanted to crush his dreams. She just didn't get it. It's a good thing John Lennon didn't quit. Writing and drawing is not self-indulgent. Dag Hammarskjöld, a Swedish diplomat, kept an intensely personal diary of prayers and notes to help him become a better Christian. He didn't intend it for anyone else's eyes. It was part of his process for focusing his efforts. Henry Darger was an impoverished old janitor who glued thousands and thousands of pages of his writing and drawing into old telephone books. He wrote one of the longest novels in history, all for an audience of one, himself. It eased his loneliness. Anne Frank wanted to be a writer. She wanted to share her words with the wider world. She used her diary to practice, but it helped her cope with the fear and intense constraints and deprivations of hiding from the Nazis. It turned out she was a great writer, and we might never have known, but she kept a diary. Those spells when I've lapsed feel lost to me. Starting up again feels right. I like remembering what I did on my 7th birthday. We rode bicycles into town, and we sat on the curb in front of the spaghetti bowl and had pizza. Let me ask you, how did you meet your best friend? What was your first day of 5th grade like? What did you think of your first gym teacher? Not many people can answer those questions, but if you kept a diary, you probably can. But if you didn't keep a diary, start one now. It's not too late. People who keep a diary get to live twice, and if you add drawing, it will teach you how to see differently. You can experience things more deeply and live more mindfully. So, let's set up your kit. Fundamentally, you just need paper and pen. I know someone who just uses her office scrap paper and puts them all together. She loves it. She doesn't care how it looks. She just wants to keep track of her ideas and doesn't want to worry about messing up a pretty book. She never suffers blank page syndrome. You know, that's where a person freezes because suddenly the pristine page makes them afraid to make a mistake. If you don't want something that crude, pick yourself up a little composition book. You can get them almost anywhere. Here's a little notebook a talented kid let me take a picture of. It was lined, but she just painted over it. Look at that, Chicago shoreline. Is that cool or what? If you like things fancy, maybe you want something really special. And look at that cover material. Ooh. Bookstores and stationery stores sell some gorgeous blank books. Sometimes having something really beautiful makes you want to use it more. This one has good paper, silver-edged pages, a fancy schmancy ribbon. It lies flat. I like that. That's particularly handy when you want to make a painting that spreads out over both pages. This one has a really unusual spine. It too lies flat. I like that it has different kinds of paper in it, and it looks like it's really good quality paper. This one has a lot of different color pages. It's awfully big though, so it'll take a long time to fill. We'll see how the binding holds up. This one is a little bear book from Treetop Publishing in Wisconsin. It's got good quality paper, it's not too big, and you can decorate the cover. I like to get a dozen of these to hand out when I'm teaching a class. They're very good. I also like to make my own books. I've actually done some bookbinding, and that's great, but you don't have to take a class to make a book. I just stapled these. I bought these pens just to write in this one with the dark paper. Isn't this one a hoot? It's just one of those like cardboard carry totes that hold like a dozen bottles of hard cider. I cut it up and stapled a bunch of wallpaper sheets into it. I think I'm going to use this one next. I like it. These books with graph paper in them work well for bullet journaling. I have been working on a bullet journal. I've used just a regular ring binder and put all sorts of paper in there. This way I could cut out dividers with tabs just to see how it would work. These are good for organizing yourself. Here's a couple of crazy novelty books. They're very funny, but they're also very heavy, and the binding isn't very good. But some people love them. I knew an Australian woman who was doing a couple of years of traveling, as Australians often do, and she picked up fun theme blank books from wherever she was. Plus, she'd get a novelty pen to go with it. She'd fill them up with her writing and drawing, and then she'd mail it back to her folks in Australia. She knew when she got home, she'd have a bunch of these books waiting for her. What a great way to keep a record. Priceless. I carry this little travel book. This one is made of elephant poo. I guess the process of making paper from woody material isn't that different from sending it through the intestines of an elephant. So they wash the poo, pour it through paper screens, and then dry it out. It's great paper. Strong, takes ink beautifully, and it's a lovely color. I drew an elephant on the cover. I thought that was appropriate. It comes in its own bag. I throw in a couple pens, and it's my little travel kit. I can carry it anywhere. I've used one of those comb binders, too. They work pretty nicely. This is a book I'm working on right now. It has wallpaper in it and regular paper. I used a cereal box for the cover. The cover acts like an envelope and can hold odds and ends that I've cut out or things I plan to glue in. This is a great sketchbook to take to the Field Museum, the Natural History Museum in Chicago. The exhibits there are great for drawing, and I don't even mind that the comb binding is in the middle of the picture. With a satisfactory book, it's time to create the right place at the right time. This is an antique box I found. In it I keep Post-its, tabs, whiteout, markers, pencil, a sharpener, erasers, scissors, glue, envelopes, clippings, maybe watercolors or gouache or caseines. I also put in water brushes, maybe a container of water. I toss in stickers, stamps, tape, beads, string, anything interesting I find, even the occasional toy. I draw them, that's why I have them. This way my tools are easy to take out and easy to put away. I put them by my comfiest chair, so I'm always ready. Teachers often tell their students, don't do your homework in bed. Well, there's a reason for that. The likelihood of falling asleep and not finishing is very high, because your mind tends to go where your body takes it. So setting up the right place and the right time can help you focus, and it can help you establish a habit. It doesn't have to be a box. Use the drawer of your favorite end table, or a Russian lacquer box, or a cool tin, or an old suitcase, or a basket. Don't want something so big and cumbersome? Try out a little cigar box. That'll work. If you don't need anything like that, fine. You can keep it simple, but think about it and make it your own. Jane Austen used a writer's slope. Some people call them Georgian laptops. It was like a big briefcase. People would keep blank paper in one compartment, finished manuscripts in another, and pens and ink in the little cubbies and drawers. Wherever she lived or visited, she could set up her writing space for herself. Okay, so now you're kitted out. Here's a little way to get started. A little demonstration. I don't tweet, but I have a friend and she likes to tweet. And once she impulsively fired off a tweet and accidentally hurt the feelings of a friend of hers. She apologized and her friend forgave her, but she still felt badly that it happened. So she decided to write her potential tweets down in her day planner to take a good look at them before she puts them out. Now, she had started a journal once or twice in the past, but never felt that she had time to keep it up. But with this, to her surprise, these little lines became really important to her, more important than the actual tweets. She calls it her tweet spot. She draws a box in the planner's page for that day and writes out what she wants to say and maybe draws a little something to go with it or takes a snapshot with her phone and prints it out and glues it in. She scrapped keeping the diary because she didn't write enough, but now she feels good about keeping it brief. So, tweet yourself. I was sitting doing some work when I glanced out the window and I saw someone's discarded pop can by the bushes. Well, I went out the side door to pick it up and throw it away, and to my astonishment, there was a little baby bunny sitting in the grass just a few feet from me. It was so tiny. It was about the size of a handball. I've never seen a bunny that small. I didn't have a camera, so I stared at it for a moment in awe. A teeny little life. When I shifted my feet, it got startled and scampered into the bushes. And it was over. But I wrote it down, and I did a quick sketch from memory on this lovely afternoon on the first day of June, 2021. Pick an incident from your day, something you'd like to remember, something that touches you and means something to you. I had a cat named Dickens. He was a lovely animal. Before we got the cat door and he could come and go as he pleased, I would grab him and put him in the house before I went to work. Dickens was a good cat and always came when he was called. But he didn't want to go in, and he didn't want me to leave for work, so he danced just out of my reach and meowed happily and tried to talk me into playing hooky. Well, that morning I was getting impatient, and he was prancing and pussyfooting around teasing me. He skipped around a corner, and when I followed, I found him rolling in some newly blooming crocuses. I was enchanted. I didn't know he had crocuses. Graham must have planted them. Anyway, I gave Dickens a full body massage just for being such a cutie pie. What a cat. What a morning. And I jotted it down and forgot about it. But I'm so glad I recorded it because I was looking for the date of something else entirely and came across my note on that moment. The wonder of it swept over me all over again. And then I had to laugh because the very next entry had a picture of a Band-Aid and a caption that said, "How do I get so many paper cuts? I go through more Band-Aids." I like to write and draw something each day, but they're not always related. I sometimes just write a line or two about what's on my mind and then draw my keys or something on the table in front of me. There doesn't need to be strict rules, and sometimes when I get started, I break out of the box and I go with it. Great. But sometimes just a sentence is fine. So draw a box. Tweet yourself. Remember to date stuff. I forget that a lot, and I spend a lot of time trying to figure out when things happened. When I teach journaling and drawing classes, I recommend at least trying out a handwritten or drawn version, but it's not a requirement. I strongly encourage experimenting. I draw on my iPad and I like it. It's a different experience and I'm happy to learn what it has to teach me. I still go back to my books. I like that they're chronological. Try out different things. Do whatever suits you. And don't feel a need to be consistent. Skip around. Thank you for joining us for Stuff and Nonsense Journaling with Miss Julie, and I hope you come back next week for more.